Hi, everybody. It's Jessica and Dave here with the Andersons, and today we are excited to talk to you about how to stabilize your nitrogen investment.
Yeah, actually, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because we dive into soil a lot with this product.
So, looking into that, how to stabilize your nitrogen. So, that's our big question, and we want to answer that with a lot of science, for one, and then we want to talk about some of our product solutions. Nitrogen is very subject to loss, and when you lose your nitrogen, you are losing a lot of money because it's going out with the water, it's going up in the air, and we don't want that. We want that nitrogen in the root system where your plant can use it.
Yeah, and the reason why it's more subject to loss than a lot of the other products that we put out there is because of the soil in North America, in this area, is negatively charged. And so I'm going to dive into a little organic chemistry, but
Everybody's favorite subject.
yeah, it's not it's pretty fun when we talk about saving money and saving nitrogen. So soil is negatively charged, and all the soil microbes want to start converting that nitrogen into a negatively charged nitrate. So that'd be NO3 negative. And if anybody's ever played with magnets before, if you put two negatively charged magnets next to each other, what are they going to do, Jess?
They repel each other.
Yeah, they're going to repel each other. So nitric doesn't like to stay with soil at all. It wants to be repelled down with the water, and it moves down into the water system. And this is where a lot of our waterways get contaminated. Our wells, our lakes get contaminated with nitrate, and it causes a lot of issues. And we're always trying to figure out a way to prevent that. And one way that the Andersons have come up with is mixing a high carbon source, UltraMate or UltraMate Zn, with your nitrogen, and that kind of carbon chelates it. So what happens with that is that it surrounds that nitrate molecule with carbon, and it kind of turns it into a positive nutrient instead of a negative nutrient.
And then looking back at those magnets, instead of having two negatives that repel, then you have a negative and a positive,
which
are
attracts.
attracted to each other.
So that's carbon chelation. And so you might hear us talk about carbon chelating nutrients, and that's kind of the backstory, the origin story, as I always like to say, because I like Marvel movies. So.
And that's a really good way to describe it too, because chelation, if you don't really know what you're talking about, it's a hard topic to understand. So putting it in those terms of magnets, I think, really helps bring the story together to just truly understand how chelation works. And then you mentioned the UltraMate Zinc product that has those carbon qualities, and that's going to help really solve that problem of stabilizing that nitrogen through the process of carbon chelation.
Yeah, it's a really high carbon product. Our humic product, which is called UltraMate, it's mined. It's a lignite product, and that's where we get the UltraMate from. It's a very high carbon and a high organic matter product, and so more carbon you have, of course, is the easier it's going to be to chelate those nutrients with carbon.
And that UltraMate, it's more than just a nitrogen. It has more than just the nitrogen stabilization properties. It is excellent for your overall soil health because that carbon will help feed that microbial population, and plants love carbon.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Jess, about the microbes. We're taking a different tack than a lot of people do with stabilizing nitrogen. A lot of products want to kill off the microbes or inhibit them in one way or another.
And the reason of that is because those microbes play a role in the conversion.
That's correct.
So by eliminating part of that equation, then they're saying, then the nitrogen isn't going to convert, which is true, but that's not good for your soil health.
No, and we just take a different tact. We kind of go with the flow. We carbon chelate that product. And the nice thing about carbon is that it's taken up by the plant. Plants just love carbon. And so we get it into the plant faster that way.
And carbon helps with more than just nitrogen, but other nutrient availability. It helps free up a lot of those for the plant to uptake. And our UltraMate Zinc, it has an excellent characteristic of, you guessed it, it has zinc in it.
Yeah, so that's an interesting product. So every gallon of UltraMate, you get a quart of zinc.
And that's the zinc 15%.
Yeah, it's a great product, especially soil applied.
And zinc offers a lot of benefits to the plant health. One of them is zinc plays a role in leaf sizing. So thinking of your leaf like a solar panel, if you are low in zinc, which a lot of soils statistically are in the United States, your leaves are going to be smaller. And when you have smaller solar panels, you aren't going to be producing as much energy. And the plant really needs those solar panels, i.e. leaves, to create its energy. And by supplementing that zinc and allowing that plant to not scavenge for that nutrient, it can maximize leaf sizing, thereby maximizing its energy production.
Yeah, the bigger the soil panels, the more energy it's going to absorb from the sun. It also helps with uptake of nitrogen and helps that plant metabolize that nitrogen more efficiently.
And then back to that good old stave barrel analogy, which
Yes.
everybody loves, but just a little background of that. You have this wooden barrel and all these staves around it, and the barrel's only going to fill with water to the lowest stave. So thinking of every stave as a nutrient.
So if you're short in zinc, you're going to limit your yield potential with that shortage of zinc. Same way with any other nutrient. But zinc's a good analogy, like you said, Jess. A&L shows that 85% of the soils are low in zinc right now.
And with that, we want zinc to be in basically every pass going across the field. So looking in that side dress time, which is when we're going to be really looking at applying that carbon chelation, nitrogen stabilization properties, that's another time where you can add more zinc. Add more zinc to that crop, get it into the plant system, maximize your solar panels.
Yeah, this year was a prime example of nitrogen stabilization because we had a lot of wet weather this spring, of course, and so a lot of anhydrous didn't get put on. A lot of people wanted to hurry things up, so they just put their nitrogen on with their weed and feed, so it'd be UAN normally. And I got to encourage a lot of people to put on a gallon of UltraMate Zn with that UAN. They came back to me this fall and they said, you know what? I think you know what you're talking about. That UAN didn't seem to leave the system like it normally does. And so that kind of felt good. And we saw some great positive results from that on our test plots.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave. That's all we really have for you today about the topic of stabilizing your nitrogen with a carbon product. And we recommend that UltraMate Zinc at a rate of 1 to 2 gallons per acre. So when you apply that, you're going to get a ton of benefits. One, you're going to impede your nitrogen cycle, so keeping that nitrogen in the soil profile to be taken up by the plant. You're also going to be applying a quart per acre of Nulex 15% zinc and providing that supplemental zinc to the crop, which we find very often deficient. So if you have any questions or would like any more information on anything we talked today, get in touch with your Anderson's representative. You can also find us at andersonsplantnutrient.com or on Facebook at Anderson's Plant Nutrient Agriculture. Thank you.